Hello and welcome to the first installment of the Nintendo 64 Mystery Series, long awaited, where I make up for that horrible mistake that was trying to explain the iceberg and failing, and I'm going to also probably have more fun with this after doing that. And what we're going to start with firstly is something that I accidentally forgot to go over on the iceberg, even though I've actually talked about this in a couple of other videos about Mario 64 briefly. And that's hostile Dory. People believing that for whatever reason, Dory, that cute little dragon sea monster Loch Ness thing, is somehow dangerous to you and wants to kill or eat Mario for whatever reason. And something that's really interesting about this one is that despite not being so explored as other Mario 64 mysteries that have popped up in popularity since the whole entire personalization trend, is that people really believe this one to have been true at some point, even if you can't see it anymore. And we're going to explore all of the backgrounds behind this and try to see why exactly this may be. So, you enter Hasty Mace Cave and you go down to the left and take that elevator, maybe make Mario go like, ooh, and you go down this little hill and there you see it in this big, huge open room that's kind of dank and dimly lit, and there's this huge body of water and some other mysterious cave stuff. And in there you see this odd, giant, dark blue sea dragon swimming around in there slowly. You might even not even notice her there at first. And I mean, just look at her though, like she's so cute and honestly kind of alien looking and weird and unexpected to come across, and I guess I can maybe see why she was scary for kids at first when they saw her for the first time. I mean, it definitely seems like they tried to design her to be as cute as they possibly could without overdoing it. And yeah, I definitely think Dory's adorable. Just look at her eyes still and that big red mouth and little squeaky flippers. And I love her. But as I just explained, there's also the reasons why people might be afraid of her as a child seeing that for the first time, because those eyes can seem equally as cute as they are vacant and alien and odd. So, okay, maybe a kid would be just intimidated by Dory at first glance. I don't really have many, personal or, early memory experiences I can say about seeing Dory. I don't really recall my first time encountering her, but if I can take a feeling, I feel like I probably was just a bit off put by her because she was unexpected to run into here, and I wasn't really sure what to do with her, and maybe just a bit cautious that if I touch her the wrong way then she will cause damage to me. But I don't know, I wasn't shaking and horrified and thinking that, oh my gosh, if I get too close at all then she's just gonna dart towards Mario and eat him or something like that. So yeah, it's odd that a lot of kids, not just simply imposed by Dory, but so many people, even still today from their childhood experiences, are absolutely convinced that there's some sort of way where, yes, Dory can hurt Mario or even just straight up eat him. And there is some things around the game that actually do officially suggest this. First of all is that one sign that's also in Hasty Mace Cave and has that infamous line that ended up being an entry in the Grand Old Iceberg, which reads, "A gentle sea dragon is lying around here, blah blah blah, pound on his back." And then there it is, "Don't become his lunch." So yeah, that's a strange thing to throw at the end there that suggests this dragon that it was describing as being nice and friendly and oh, there to help you is suddenly just hey, by the way, don't get fucking eaten by this thing. It's really strange and it completely contradicts the rest of the sign, and it's such an odd thing to put at the end there. Now people say that this is probably just a joke thrown by the developers having fun, since kids could be intimidated by Dory, as if I already said enough times, and they just want to add fuel to the fire, and yeah, sure, maybe that could just be the simple, literal, real explanation. But this sign isn't the only thing that suggests this. Something I actually didn't know until really recently is that the official guide to Super Mario 64 also suggests that Dory can do this to you. And this guide actually, when it introduces Dory, it starts out by mentioning the sign. And something I talked about in the less explained entries for the Mario 64 iceberg is something that makes the sign weird, along with please walk quietly in the hallways, is that a lot of the signs in Super Mario 64, maybe I'm just like having a bias because I never really bothered like reading them when I played it because they seemed boring. Like, they don't really have like a personality or much to them. Like, they're just like pure like tutorial things, and finding like sudden like flavor text or personality or something that makes sense to see in the real world but would be completely off place with the rest of those signs in the video game, like should please walk quietly in the hallways, that's kind of odd to find. And I feel like that's also kind of why like Don't Become a Sponge also stands out. But anyway, it's interesting that the guide mentions said sign because of all those reasons. And it tells you to ignore it, saying like, no, Dory won't do that to you, which is also interesting that the guide is contracting something that they said in the game, and the said sign also contradicts itself in said game, and now prepare for the official guide to contradict itself after just telling you not to believe in the sign, because after it explains Dory itself, there's a little note there that says, while Dory won't hurt you, if you try messing with her enough, then she may try to hurt you. And it's like, okay, thanks. First of all, you told me Dory was a boy in the sign, even though I'm pretty sure we can all agree that she's a girl, but hey, that's a small contradiction. Dory can be whatever she wants. But now you keep on telling me that, hey, no, Dory is just a buddy there to help you, but suddenly, just like before, you're ending it off nowhere with, actually, never mind, if you fuck up, then Dory will do something to hurt you. So yeah, this is all just really, really weird wording and like writing and stuff, how the game seems to constantly be contradicting itself and messing with you. And just like saying that Dory is this friendly creature, but then suddenly throwing at the end that like, actually no, she will try to kill you if you fuck with her. So, I mean, there's like these weird mind games and tricks being played to freaking Dory, so maybe said reasons are why kids were always so unsure approaching her, because there was just no telling what she would do to you. But also, who's to say how many kids had the guide and how many kids actually read the signs, like myself, just saying that I didn't really ever do that. So, I mean, what about those kids? Like, there must be a large majority of them that were still imitated and haunted by Dory. Well, I mean, that could be part of the, like, subtext reason. Like, the aura and atmosphere is just there where they're immediately, like, cautious towards her no matter reading or not. But if you want to delve into the whole entire personalized copies are real shtick, then there is the whole entire Mother Dory theory, which is this big, threatening version of Dory with giant, sharp fangs sticking out that will eat Mario and is seen as the reason as to why kids were scared of her. But I don't know. Who's to say if people actually saw her that way, or if they were just simply scared by her base appearance? It's still interesting because something that heightened like me wanting to talk about this so much was, and I mentioned this in the personalized experiences videos, is that I saw a comment somewhere on YouTube. I still don't know the exact video. I want to say it was when the 97 demo build of Ocarina of Time was dumped. And somebody was excited about that, and they're like, oh boy, next I need to find the copy of Super Mario 64 where Dory can actually hurt you. So, I mean, yeah, like, this is interesting because I don't know if this is a good idea, but I'm, like, starting this series on, like, the most, like, definitive but also vague one to, like, answer and talk about, which is that, like, Dory, while we don't see any issues with her today, like there's just so much like evidence like that's actually official, as well as like people saying by word of mouth with like absolute more certainty than any other like theory or whatever Super Mario 64 is that yes, there was this thing where she could hurt you. I mean, maybe it was kind of like planned at some point where if you did like touch Dory beyond just like her regular use to ride you over to that one star, then like maybe you would get damaged by her in some point. Like I was kind of like cautious to do when I was first like running into her. And so that just like natural instinct is still kind of left over, and it's just been like exaggerated beyond belief that kids like have these memories of Dory actually attacking Mario actively. And I mean, if you want to believe that the personalized stuff is real and that just solves it right there, it's because they had a personalized copy where Dory would just straight up do that, no question. But yeah, I mean, Dory herself is just interesting because if you weren't scared of her and just found her cute, then there's still like some like emotional heightened issues with her, like pounding on her back, and she makes that horrible sound. Like, why would they design that noise that way? Like, I've heard like reports of kids who just found her to be cute, like actually crying from doing that, and it sounds like you're actually like really fucking hurting her. And it's not even like a cartoony like ooh like the turtle and Banjo Kazooie. It's like a real animal screech and pain, and it's like if everything around her is supposed to be so friendly and nice, then why are we doing this to her? Like no wonder she would want to attack Mario. But yeah, the like basically solves like well, it doesn't fucking solve anything, but that explains like everything I could like find from this, like both officially and just like word of mouth from people in terms of hostile Dory and not becoming said lunch of Dory. So yes, to sum it up, I guess there's things in the game officially that suggest Dory can hurt you, both in text and just like general design of the level, and other things such as the noises she makes and the way she suddenly appears and how daunting that can be. And people have a lot of personal experiences of her hurting you. Like she does appear like as an enemy since like basically every other life form you counter in Mario 64 in the levels is an enemy indeed. So yeah, like I guess this is just an example of what made the whole entire personalized copy theory so popular, is that so many people, because of these circumstances, have these specific memories of this happening to them where they either took damage or even got straight up eaten by Dory. And it's led many people to believe that this actually is a real thing, and it gives those theories some like actual weight to it. And that about does it for that theory. Next time I can talk about Super Mario 64 mysteries that are a bit more vague and just have to strictly do with like beta stuff and maybe some personalized experiences. But aside from that, I need two other entries from the iceberg to make up for, which is not Mario 64, but Smash 64 Zelda, and then we're returning to Super Mario 64, where we'll mostly be staying there with delicious cake, which is something that's not as detailed as Dory, so it probably won't be as long and confusing. Anyway, see you next time.